there's no way to ease into it. It kind of, it's always a little bit of a shock to the system. I had to take myself to a dark place to get through it, because it was so hard. Good tune to be on. The sun was rising. I was just like, this is magic. I was almost psychotic. I was almost laughing about how cold and uncomfortable I was. I just want to get going, get practice underway, and get to work, really.
Welcome to the north coast of Northern Ireland. Welcome to the 2024 Northwest 200. This is the first of 3 episodes from this fantastic event, brought to you in proud association with Causeway Eats. When you're up on the north coast of Northern Ireland, make sure you download the app to get great food delivered straight to your door. In this episode, WTF Racing, We're the Future, James Hillier. The Dakar Northwest 200 and TT man sits down with us for 45 minutes to talk all things motorcycle racing. That's James Hillier. This is Off Track, the motorcycle racing podcast.
WTF Racing, James Hillier. Welcome back to the show, mate. How are you?
Hello, good, thank you.
Here at the 2024 Northwest 200. It's great to catch up. You've been out on track for the first time today.
Yeah.
First question as always, how's it been?
Do you know, I always forget just how extreme the speed is. You kind of think, I'll be all right, did it last year, but nothing quite compares to the high speeds here, and just how there's no way to ease into it. It kind of, it's always a little bit of a shock to the system, and trying to readjust to how fast things are coming towards you and picking your braking markers out. So, but yeah, I'm smiling. It gets me going, and it's been a semi-productive day. I think we've already actually gone faster than I did on the Yamaha last year, so that's so good. I didn't realise that, but that's what the team has said. So it's yeah, we just got some things to work on tomorrow, and hopefully chip away and see where we end up and what happens.
That leads me into the next question. You've done that beautifully. The transition from the Yamaha for the last couple of seasons, coming back after COVID, now onto the Honda. You've done a couple of BSB rounds.
You do just tests, yeah?
You did the tests, sorry, my apologies. You did the tests. You did the test on Wednesday, Thursday at Alton Park, and then came over here.
Yeah.
So what's been the transition from the R1 to the Honda Fireblade?
Honestly, the chassis is better on the Honda than I anticipated. I sort of felt like I had a good place with the Yamaha, but I was pleasantly surprised to first ride the Honda. But it just taken. I'm still adapting now to transitioning over from the engine characteristics of the Yamaha. You ride it much more in the lower revs and use the mid-range torque, and it tethers out at the top, whereas the Honda is more like a big two-stroke. So I kind of need to rev it more and get in the habit and changing my style a little bit, just to sort of give it a bit more death, in the revs, and use it to the limit, because the Yamaha was quite unique in the way it made its power. But I feel I'm getting there. We progressing every time I ride it, and certainly now when I ride off in it, I feel at home. So ultimately, I can't wait to take it around the Isle of Man. That's that's what excites me. So,
how much do you enjoy the Northwest 200?
I mean, today was good. The weather here always makes it, and it's different. It's probably a little old school in that I feel that the chicanes are a bit. I don't know. I don't want to say too much, but I understand why they're there. But it breaks it up a little bit, I suppose. But I like fast corners, like Station, and that's really the Coast Road. I probably quite enjoy a few sections there. But yeah. Anyway, I did the atmosphere is great. The paddock's always a good vibe in the paddock. The fans are passionate, and the Coast Road here, even when the roads are open, it's just heaving, isn't it? There's a lot of people, and it's nice feeling. Like it's what road racing is about, I think.
It's a beautiful part of the world. We enjoy coming back every year because it's exactly that. It's got a nice little party feel to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the intensity for me of the Isle of Man. That's a completely different feeling when you're over there. This is a bit more of a. It's almost like. I'll probably get shot for this, like Blackpool, but on the north coast of Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
It's a proper seaside town.
Amusement arcades, and it is a good vibe here, and the fans are very different to you get anywhere else in a nice way. They're so passionate and genuinely interested. They're which is nice. They're respectful, and they're here for the right. Road. We're in the road racing sort of capital, I suppose, aren't we? In terms of which is where it originated
Absolutely.
from, and is big. So yeah, I like it here.
When we were at Silverstone last year, we had a chat with Hickey Coops and Josh Brooks, and we had a nice conversation about Station Corner. And you mentioned it then. It's one of the most iconic corners, I think, anywhere in road racing. Tell me about your approach to it, your feeling as you go through it. How do you approach that on a lap by lap basis?
I mean, it's easier on the smaller bikes because it's just full throttle, but the big bike is kind of, if the bike's working well, then it's nearly, some will say, oh, it's let out, but I'm pretty sure if you looked at the data, there would always be a little comfort roll on the way in just to help the bike transition and turn. But yeah, it's just exhilarating. You know, you always approach it and think, even when you drive around on open roads and with the car, and to think you're approaching there flat out in sixth gear on a super big 1000cc bike, you know, it's good. But the wind, it's quite open on the exit, so the wind can often pull you around a little bit. But I would say it's boring by any means. In practice, it's different. I prefer riding it in a race when I'm in a group, or there's a group just in front, and trying to kind of dial that good, because it gives you a good run then onto the straight towards university. So yeah, for me it's just a proper corner, you know. I can't really explain it, but it's a good feeling. Yeah.
How long does it take you to build up to that comfort roll?
Not long, 2 or 3 laps maybe. I think today it didn't take long at all to, you know, I've out of the box I felt pretty good into that around there. So, you know, those sort of speed sections aren't too bad. It's more picking out your braking markers at high speed. So I feel I can get up to speed quite quick where it's a general turn in and that side of thing. But it's when you're trying to reference distance a little bit for braking, that's where it takes me a bit longer to get going, I think.
I suppose coming into the chicanes, Mangleboy and Bathurst Cross, that's where you make up a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
Or you can lose a lot of the time as well.
Yeah, you have to, you kind of forget, I feel I forget sometimes just how hard you can pull the brake and how hard you need to pull the brake, because, you know, and you've only got to hit a drain cover slightly wrong and the back wheel lifts, and then you've got to release the brake, then you've lost 50 meters. You know, you can lose distance really quickly at that speed. Everything happens a lot quicker because you don't get that sort of speed in short circuit racing or testing. So or drain covers even. So it's quite different.
Well, no, so it's good that you mentioned that, because we were going back in the car to the digs to pick the podcast gear up to come back. Sam, who was driving, pointed out, so I never noticed that they painted the drain covers.
Yeah.
The paint on the drain cover, yes, it's there so you can see them, but does it have grit or anything?
I would think it'll be a grippy paint.
There's a grippy paint to go
for, not necessarily, well, I suppose for the dry to a degree, but also if it rains, it just adds a little bit of adhesion rather than a shiny metal drain cover, because that doesn't mix very well with wet rubber.
It doesn't work with the rubber in anyway, really, does it?
No.
So it's nice that you can see it and you can pick your points.
For sure, yeah. And, you know, you kind of try to ride around them where you can, but some you genuinely just have to grit your teeth and ride over them.
I guess when you're running your own laps, sort of practice things like that, you can pick your own line, but it's a mass start, so some race conditions you could be anywhere.
Absolutely, or overtake, yeah, you'll get pushed out onto it, so you've got to be and it's important almost to kind of test the water a little bit in practice as well, and just understand what's where, because you know, you in a race you do have to use different parts of the course.
The team with the future, WTF Racing, we spoke to Simon McNally, the press officer, before we came on. Offsetting the carbon side of the sport is something that's really interesting, and one side that the team are pushing is that you're able to plant a tree against the rubber and the carbon that the team emits. That's a real positive move in sort of 2024. I quite like that. Yeah,
I think it's clever really in a way, because I didn't really understand it, or to be honest, I've never had the interest to put the kind of research behind it, but as I understand it, the team is basically planting trees to reimburse the ecosystem with what we're taking out of it, I suppose, or putting back into it with the tyre production, rubber and diesel in the trucks, and so it's I think the main factor is it's important we're protecting the future of the sport, because the way the world's going with all global warming and these woolly jumper wearing people that kind of like to make life awkward. I think we need to protect where we're going with things, and it kind of ticks a nice green box for people to go, well, they can't hammer us too much if we are providing back in a good way. So it's actually an important aspect to being able to continue doing what we're doing and enjoying it, because it's I think on the grand scheme of things it has a very little impact, but if we can keep our noses clean and keep the people we need to happy and cover our bases, then everyone should be doing it here, so that we can't be getting hounded for causing too much issue. So it's good, and I'm happy to be involved with it. And it is the more I learn about it, the more interesting it gets. But it's a good thing we're doing.
It's a much more positive way to give back to the environment than gluing yourself to the Dartford crossing. It's a much more proactive way. The trees are offsetting the carbon that the team and the sport produces. Like I say, it might only be a small amount, but it's a step in the right direction. So the team should be commended for that.
I think in Alan, the owner, he's always thinking outside the box, and I think we're one of the first to, certainly in the motorcycle sort of industry, to do it. I know they're looking at different fuel systems and things for world championships, or these biofuels if we're doing what we can, then it's less of an argument for people to try and stop us doing what we enjoy, isn't it?
Certainly is. And I think oil and carbon and things like that moves us on nicely to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And the desert and the Dakar. How's that for a segue?
Yeah, I mean, that's where a lot of it comes from.
Exactly right.
So, yeah.
Tell me about the Dakar, Jay. This is the first time we've had a chance to sit down. I mean, when we spoke a couple of years ago, you were the second ever video episode we did.
On the other hand, we shot
it. That's right.
Outside the end, yeah.
That's the one outside the hospitality unit. So
yeah.
That's what started this whole programme off. And you were deep in preparations, and I think the Andalusia rally had been and gone, I think, or was on the horizon. Then you were building towards Dakar, but now here you are.
Yeah.
As a Dakar finisher. It's an incredible achievement. Tell me what it was like, mate. It's fascinating. I still don't quite believe I did it, and I think that's why I plan to go back. But it was it was so hard and such a shock, or not a shock, like surreal almost, because it was a dream for so long, and then I had to take myself to a dark place to get through it, because it was so hard. I don't know if I can swear on here, but I convinced myself it wasn't that bad, but it was genuinely hardest thing I've probably done ever, just to keep going and get it was so much work went in to get there from a lot of people, and even involvement with OMG, because OMG at the time, we did the qualifying races, Andalusia and Abu Dhabi, a desert challenge, because you can't just rock up. And years gone by, you could just rock up to Dakar as a wild card, pay your entry, and start on pretty much any bike. But they've got stricter with it now, so it was quite a lot of in the background, a lot of groundwork to even get to the start line. And people said that to me, the hardest bit is getting to the start line, and that does make a lot of sense now. But genuinely, when it was bizarre. Just I flew in with the Pro Drive, the car team. They are hooked up with them to travel, because it was where it started in Saudi. There wasn't direct flights. It was a bit of a nightmare. And visas it wasn't simple. It was a lot of bloody planning and stuff. But I ended up. They separated. They picked up their vehicles at the airport, and I went on my own then on a bus from the airport to the paddock. Sat on a coach for 4 or 5 hours by myself, and then wheeled in, had my kit bag, walked into the bivouac, and I was just like, wow, the bike and everything all gone over previously, because I had to drop it in France, and I was just so not magical. It was just wow factor was crazy. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know where to go, because I didn't know where we were going to be with the bike. So I asked people, say, we were in this motul section where they run the Malay class that I was in, because again I ended up going by myself, not with a team, so I was solo doing it the hard way, because it was genuinely budget wise, it was that way or no way. And
yeah, it was just, but in the 2-week period, I made some really good relationships and friendships with the guys I was riding with. It was quite special in a way. We all had to dig deep, and it although it's a race, it became more of it's not a survival, I suppose, a bit of survival, but there was a real camaraderie between a lot of us. They maybe started a little bit as rivals at the beginning because you're in a race, but then at the end it was just, you just wanted to keep seeing the guys you were getting on with make it back in the bivouac, and there was some amazing stories that would I think every Dakar creates some amazing stories, but there was a guy, Mo, just to put it into sort of in a scale, like there was a Portuguese guy, I think he's Portuguese, Pedro or Spanish. He was an ex GP rider, like a rally GP rider, pro, and he was doing the same class as Malay, but he was fast, and good. So I would rock up whatever time, hanging out my arse. he looking for my spot, and then start. He'd have been in maybe an hour, bike prepped, in comfy clothes, trainers on, waltzing around all fresh and looking nice. And I was like, you prick, he'd just been there. He knew he was fast, fit, and the faster you are, the quicker you finish, the more rest you get. So it's kind
Absolutely.
and I would sort of anyway, I'd crack on, get my stuff done, then I'd sort of be finished. Then this other guy, Mo, the American guy, would rock up then, and it would be the same. I'd kind of be that guy to him, and I think, wow, and this was early on in the race. I thought, man, it doesn't look good for him to get to the finish, because it catches up with you, you get a lot less recovery time anyway, and he made it to the finish. He kept chipping away, and but you all drive each other on. I could talk about it for hours. It's so, I have a lot of enthusiasm for the whole rally thing. It's very hard to capture it, and that's one of the reasons I want to go back, is try to document it and capture truly what it is and share it, because it's a special, crazy, amazing thing.
I guess when you're doing it for the first time, it's difficult to be in the moment, because you've got so much going on that you, in the Malay class, you're servicing your own bike. It's you, the bike. You've got the team at the end of the stage.
Yeah, there's basically an Arctic truck.
Advanced crew.
Yeah, so they go from bivouac to bivouac across Saudi, and we meet there. We do our road ride stage, and then another road ride to the next bivouac. So whilst we're riding, they're just going setting up at the next bivouac. So they carry a tent, toolbox, food, and all that stuff. So we're not sat around campfire and trying to carry tents on our bike. It's
Bedouin.
so when you get in and finish a day, they'll be there, and not that they're going to particularly help you very much, but but I found I was riding a lot of the day, kind of conserving myself and the bike, trying to think, well, I'll just look after everything, look after me, and then save some energy for later, because the first 3 or 4 days I probably rode a little bit too fast, and then was wearing myself out. I can't continue like this and do the evening work and sleep in a tent for, the average sleep I reckon was 4 or 5 hours a night, because there's noise, the generators, cars that are broken down, they're testing around it. It's just, it doesn't sleep. It's a bit like Mad Max, the whole thing, lights are on, and so you don't get a lot of rest. You don't get enough rest. So it's such, even off the bike was tough. It was almost, the riding bit was almost the easy bit, because you literally just concentrate on riding, and you could sit down a bit, stand up where you need to, but relentless 2 weeks, but satisfying.
The riding is a lot easier if you're fully fit, James.
Yeah. You
had a bit of an incident while you were out there.
And it was frustrating, because when I crashed out myself, I wasn't taking the piss. Before that, I'd pushed on, maybe ridden a little bit beyond the pace I should have done at times, and got away with it. But when I crashed, it was a stupid little fall, and I was I'd actually purposely dropped from the group I was riding with to save myself, and I still frigging crashed and hurt myself. So and that put everything into perspective, because it really, I thought it was finished at that moment. I was convinced I'd broken my collarbone because I could feel it. Like, I basically when I went to pick the bike up, I felt my bone move in my arm, and it, like, a horrible sensation. I thought that it didn't used to, that's not normal. It doesn't normally make that sensation. So but I convinced myself I was all right, and soon realised I wasn't, because I just had no strength, or couldn't really even, it was my right arm, so I couldn't really even twist the throttle. I had to, like, there was 100k left of the stage. I made it to the end, but, like, genuinely I was crying. I think it was physical pain to a degree, but more mental, because I thought that was it, and to be on day 5, that was stage 5. So finished the stage, saw the doctor. There's always a doctor at the end of each stage, and there's a big bus there, and there's food, and they look after you. And anyway, he like, analysed me and recommended I don't ride there, which I was a bit subdued and didn't really know. I thought I'd follow his advice, and went in the ambulance from there to back to the bivouac, to the medical centre, and they have this knock-up hospital, temporary hospital, which is pretty incredible actually how they do it. But out the back in a truck was an X-ray machine, and they X-rayed me and said, look, it's not broken.
Sorrymate.com are specialist motorcycle accident solicitors that have decades of experience dealing with all types of motorbike accident claims. They know that having the right person represent you with your motorcycle accident claim can make a huge difference in all aspects of your journey to recovery that follows any motorbike accident. Sorrymate.com is run by bikers for bikers. I know the team well. They're genuinely great people who really care about their clients. Head to sorrymate.com to find out how the team can help you, or just click the link in the description below.
It's just dislocated, which I didn't even know you could dislocate your collarbone. But
That's a new one.
yeah, there is a technical medical term for it, but I don't know. I can't remember it. But anyway, it wasn't great. But they said that if I could put up with the pain, then I can continue, because it shouldn't get any worse. So I was like, I was made up really, because I thought I can at least try, as long as it's not physically gonna keep growing, in my head it was a broken bone, and it was so it was just a floating bone really that had detached at one end, so it still not ideal. But it was a green card to try again. I thought it was quite funny, because they awarded me a prize that evening at the presentation thing for sportsmanship or something, for finishing that stage with the injury. And I genuinely think they thought I was done. They gave me that to sort of make me feel a bit better about not finishing the rally. So that I think they were a bit shocked when I was back on the start line in the morning. But the bivouac exit to go again. But it was didn't really stop there, because my bike hadn't come back. It was supposed to be recovered from the end of the stage back to the bivouac to change the air filter and prepare for the next day. Woke up, got my kit on, which took ages after a poor night's sleep. But it took me 10 minutes to even get up, because I couldn't, like, you're in a tent, which isn't the best, climbing up off the. Anyway, it was hard work, and again, some of the other guys helped me actually physically get my gear on to be ready, but my bike was nowhere to be found. And but I remembered I put an Apple tag on the bike, so I could follow its journey from France, from where I dropped it off to Saudi on the boat. And
useful.
And I thought fuck. So I got my phone out, and I was like on the Apple Find thing, whatever, and it was saying it was close, but I couldn't find it. I was like, anyway, we found it in the back of a truck, and the Motul original guys that drive the support truck, they were helping me to find it, and they woke this dude up who was asleep on a cam bed in the back of this truck next to my bike, the driver of the recovery truck, and we dragged it out and literally chucked an air filter on. Within minutes, really, I made it to the start line with minutes spare, because I had to then go refuel ready for the day stage, and that was probably obviously a turning point, because it changed the whole factor of the rally for me, just to get to the finish. But there was a lad, Gareth Jones, who I ended up riding the rest of the rally with really. He's a British guy, lives in Canada now, and I'd spoke to him a little bit before the rally because I took some parts over for him, but I said, he was starting behind me that day, and I walked back and I said, Gareth, look, said I mean, not in a great way, but I said, if you see me on the floor, I said, if I drop the bike, I said, could you please stop and just help me pick it up, because I don't think I can do it by myself. Anyway, and I don't know how many kilometres in, I fell off, and I had loads of silly crashes because I physically didn't have the strength to, basically in the deep sand, when the front washes, it pushes the bars one way, and if it turned, if my right arm came inwards, like push the bars to the right, I didn't have the physical strength to fight it and hold myself up and sort of steer into it and go. So I kind of had to like flop and fall off, and pathetic crashes, but that's all I could do. And I can maybe 40-50k in, I had a silly crash, and I just sort of stood and waited for Gareth. He had a white helmet, and I remember him coming in. I just waved him down. He put his, dropped his, you kind of, because the side stands don't work in the sand, you have to spin the back wheel up, and he stopped his bike and helped me get it up, and that was kind of the beginning of the second part of the rally, really. We did the rest of it together, and it took the pressure off. I never really went there, I never expected to wanted to, well, I always want to win, but realistically I was never going to win that, even that class. It was just there to, I just wanted to give it my best shots. But from that point onwards, it was more just a case of, I'd got stung with a 20-something hour penalty anyway for going to the ambulance, which was a bit harsh, but
wow.
Yeah, but
Some long life.
and there was at one point, it was also one point that they'd said, because I've been speaking with the organisers about carrying on, and they said, but you may not actually even get your finisher's medal because you've done that bit in the ambulance. It's not they're quite strict now, and I said, well, I don't actually care about the medal. I said, I just need to know in my head I've done the distance. Like, apart from it was like 100k road section that I missed out. Well, I travelled in the ambulance, so it wasn't like I'd missed a day out or took the piss. Anyway, so yeah, it was just so many like little bits of just things no one else will ever, maybe like with Gareth, the other guy I riding with, only me and him will ever know, I suppose. But yeah, magical, like some amazing goosebump moments where you just think, am I actually, there's some mornings where I think my earliest alarm was like 3:40 or something to be up. Then you're on the bike maybe 4:35, and then you might have a 4-hour road section in the cold dark, and you're like, what am I doing, and then the sun just appears and it just goes on, everything like orange. And I had a Cardo headset that I'd kind of velcro to my helmet so I could listen to music, and on the liaisons, and a good tune to be on. The sun was rising. I was just like, this is magic. It's like, for the old, I would like to go back with friends and share it. It's not particularly enjoyable, but the satisfaction and just takes you out your comfort zone and puts, I think, almost hurt myself, made it better in a way, because it made me more determined to get to the finish, and I suppose made it harder, which made it more satisfying. I don't know. I'm still figuring it all out. And
I'm going to say, are you still getting memories that come back now that, even though we're 14 months on, no, 15 months on as we sit here now, but do you still find things that you hadn't thought about previously? Because it was such an intense experience over 2 weeks. You can't, it's almost like the TT in a sense, that you can't process everything that went on. No. You need decompression time after.
And I think the brain, especially when it's in a certain mode, the brain switches off certain things. And, I actually spoke to Gareth like last week, weirdly, we had a phone catch up, and I was driving late, and he said, and we were sort of giggling about different things, and I'd completely forgot what he said about on one of the liaisons home. I was taking a boot off whilst we're riding, one at a time, to kind of air it out, because we got wet in some of the wet sections, and wet feet is horrible because you kind of want to dry stuff out ready for the next day. You've got to think ahead. So I completely forgotten I'd done that, but I was, I did kept trying to kind of think ahead a little bit, and he was yeah, just so many little things. I wish, another reason I want to go back is to kind of capture more of that on video, so it's like a better video diary. I did a brief series on my YouTube with how it went, but it's very hard, especially doing it the way I did, to capture enough to warrant what it is about.
It's got to get the essence of the trip and the adventure across, hasn't it? Because it's a massive undertaking. One thing that I'd like to ask about that, especially after the injury, and you know, sort of like you're 10 days in and digging probably deeper than you've ever had to before. And I think the best question that I can pull from that, what was the biggest thing you found out about yourself in that whole 2 weeks?
I think I just determination. I think I surprised myself with how determined I was to get to the finish. You know, it was hard, as I said, it was hard to even get to the start line, and a lot of people helped. So I didn't feel I was just doing it for myself. I felt I wanted to finish for all the people that had believed in me enough to help me get there. So I think the determination side of things, you know, there was a particular day when they cancelled, the rain came really bad, and they cancelled the end of the stage for the bikes, and that was a tough one. I think that was day 3 or 4. It was quite early on, and we didn't know. Normally you got the road book, so you know what your kilometres are back to the finish, and basically they kept all the bikes back, and they said, right, we've got to ride now from here, you've got to follow the car back to the bivouac, which they said it was like an hour and a half, and it was, we got to like 3 hours still of riding. So I had no, you know, I kept thinking to myself, oh, we must be near there, must be near there. The fact that I didn't actually know, I was unknown, but I don't think I've ever been that cold in my whole life, and it was almost, I was almost psychotic. Like I was almost laughing about how cold and uncomfortable I was. You know, it was weird how at the start of the ride I felt cold, and then 3 hours later I was at a whole other level, and I was like, well, I'm still, you know, I'm still here. I'm still, you know, it took me I just, it's amazing how far you can take your body, and it is in your mind. Because I thought, well, I had no option. I wasn't like just going to pull up in a gas station and try and warm up, because then I'd lose the convoy of bikes. You know, I had literally wet kit on with a bin bag over me and hugging the bike, trying to tuck my hands in behind the radiator to get some warmth for the engine up, and it was bloody hard work. And that night we got in, everyone was soaking wet. We all had to sleep in this big marquee because it was flooded and there was nowhere to put tents, and I was sneezing. I thought, well, I'm screwed now, I'm definitely going to be ill. You know, it took me hours to get any warmth back in me. I had this Kais heated jacket on that was probably something that I proved to myself or learned about myself, is how, you know, I felt I was at a limit. I felt close to the edge, but then I went friggin' loads further than, and was still all right. You know, it just I think that was, and a lot of things, even the pain. You know, I day 2 maybe my legs ached a bit from all the standing, and then day 3 maybe my arms or something. You know, and then especially after I hurt myself, I was almost like my whole body was numb. You know, it's just like keep it coming. I almost was like thriving on the suffering. It was weird. It was which probably sounds mental, but it was not almost enjoyable, like punishing myself in a weird way. It was odd, but
it's the limits of human endurance, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think
how far you can push the envelope of your own endurance.
I often think to like or compare. Obviously, it's not truly comparable to like war, but you know, those guys on the front line in the trenches or whatever, you know, if you got no option, it's fight or flight, isn't it? And I wasn't flying away from my goal of finishing, so it was a case of whatever it threw at me, I would, unless my leg was snapped and facing the wrong way, I was getting back on that bike every morning to get to the finish and just like make it happen, regardless one way or another, as long as it was within my physical ability and the bike didn't destroy itself, you know, then and that was the other thing, as it got progressed, it became more important to finish, because you saw some guys drop out, or I almost got slower as we got near the end. And the last stage was horrible with stick mud, but I rode so tense and rigid, because I was so paranoid of falling off or not making the last day. And it was almost a mind game from the organisers. They do try to they make it tough. It's not an easy race. They kind of throw a few curveballs in here and there, and it was 150, 160k special stage the last day, and you think, that's all right, it's not that far.
Yeah.
Because with some days we're over 430-ish, 420 special in the sand, so you kind of write it off as being an easy day, which it was far from it. It was probably the hardest day, because at the end there was a section in this thick clay, and it was again, you feel like you're close to you're almost empty, but you kind of then just fight through, and then I remember the last 7k particularly well, because I remember thinking, very weirdly, 7 kilometers, 6 kilometers, 5, 4, 3, and then it was almost like, before I even got to the finish, I was always like this is it. So then what's next? So it that is a problem, because it was so good, so bad but good. I need more, because I don't want to I need something, and that is the plan.
How does it compare with the TT in that mental fortitude sense? Has it helped you did it help you with the TT?
It made the races feel a bit short. It certainly made the distance feel, I kind of...
No clay, no sand, no rocks.
Shrug it off. I think 6 laps is what is that?
230 miles, no problem.
Genuinely, it changed my perception on distance, and even well, I say even now, but a long drive at home in the van, I was sort of, what is that? If even 200, 300 miles, I'm like, it's
ridden that.
Turn the radio on, sitting. It's just changed my whole perception of not my whole perception of life, but a lot of aspects of life. I think, well, it ain't Dakar, and that was, it was long day. The longest day was 913 kilometers, which was, I think
650 miles.
I think it's 6, 7, 5, a long way anyway.
Yeah.
Hundreds of, and
that's a long way.
Yeah, on a motocross seat, in motocross kit and knee braces, and no one's talked to, which is kind of nice. I don't like talking too much, but
I'm not keeping much longer.
No, I'm not saying that. But I like my own space at home.
Yeah,
I like my own company, and I had plenty of that. So it was.
That's only made that worse.
Yeah, no, it's a good escape, and yeah. So basically, it's like a new. I wouldn't say an addiction, but I would say it's. I want to try and talk a few other boys to go, and it'd be great to go and share it with, because I haven't really spoke to any other Dakar riders, people who have done it. It's like an elite club, I suppose.
Yeah.
We obviously feel lucky to have done the TT, and I can chat with the others about TT, but it's hard to. It's nice to talk Dakar with people that know Dakar. So it's a special event, and I think it deserves more credit, really, and I think if people could understand and get a little taste of it, they'd be more into it.
I remember watching it as a kid when it was Paris Dakar.
Yeah.
What was the guy's name who originally organised? Thierry Sabine?
Yes, yeah.
So going back a few years to watching it, and it is you to do it again, and for you to cover it the way that you can, I think would be exceptional, because there are aspects of it that you kind of don't have to think about. You can be more in the moment.
Yeah.
So I think if you get the opportunity to do it again, I think that would be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's the plan. We just need to try and help with the funding, really. That's the problem. It's bloody expensive, but it wasn't like, it's hard work to get there. To do the whole lot is a massive challenge in many ways, and I surprised myself. I think even the organisation side of it before, because I'm not the most organised of people, but I proved to myself that I can sort of stuff out, and because it took a lot there with all the visas and carnet stuff and loads so much, like to book certain travel plans and bits and pieces just to have everything in place, and insurances and medicals and licenses. It just went on. So yeah, it was but you know, I get excited thinking about it. I'm desperate to I just really hope we can make it get over the line to go again, and I want to share it with viewers, and hopefully try and get some other people along to do it with me.
The best thing about doing video podcasts is when you're talking so passionately about something, you can see it in your eyes. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. We can't finish the show without touching on the TT.
Yep.
Coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
TT 2024. What are you looking forward to most about it?
I just love the course. I love everything about the from the second the ferry docks and you drive off with it, and you know, I'm in the van with Caravan and the family this year, and the kids are excited, and they keep they're just buzzing. I've never known them to be so excited. So but I you know, I feel good. I'm happy with the team again. Obviously it's a new team name, but it's all familiar faces, and we've got the Hondas, and I just want to get going, get practice underway, and get to work. Really, I feel like we can. I never ever go there saying, "Oh, I feel I can win," or "I know I can win." I deep down, I know what I can do. So I just hope that we can have a productive, say, practice week to make me feel what I need to achieve what I believe I can, and hopefully that can happen when I'll be in the mix, and we'll see. You know, I don't think you can ever be cocky there or overconfident, because it's I always respect it, and just do my best, and what will be. But that is I've said recently to a few people, like, that is my Christmas. You know, when you're a kid, it's Christmas and birthdays, isn't it? But the TT is my Christmas and birthday in one part of the year. That's what I look forward to, and just little things that the seagulls, and I don't really like seagulls, but the noise, you know, that paddock atmosphere, you can hear the seagulls, and the radio with the tannoy going off, and the whole atmosphere in the paddock is I miss it, and I can't wait to get to work there, really, and you know, we'll see what we can do.
I can't believe that 2 words can evoke such feelings, like 2 words: attention and paddock.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else.
No.
They're the 2 words that you get. Attention,
Bing bong.
paddock, attention, paddock. Everybody goes straight away into it. Do you have small targets in your mind? Do you have lap time targets? Or is that not something that you think about?
No, you know, I do think about it, but I never chase it. You know, I sort of probably more chase a feeling, and if I feel good, then I know the times will come, and I genuinely believe I can do good lap times there. I just need that feeling, and although saying that, I felt I had an okay feel on the Yamaha. It just lacked a little bit in speed. So, you know, if we can get all the cogs lined up and timed up right, and everyone doing the job, like, you know, everyone in the team's worked so hard already, you know, to bring all this together, because although it's a familiar face, it's taken a lot of logistics and organisation to bring this together and make it happen. So you know, I want to repay them and for their efforts, and you know, we're all there to try and win, I suppose. But you know, I think they all know it'll be maximum effort. I'm not going to be half-heartedly riding around there. It's all out, and just I don't know. I feel good. I feel quite fit and physically good at the moment. Mentally, I feel probably about normal. I always feel a little bit, maybe lack a little bit of confidence too much, just in myself. I don't believe in I think that's my weak point. Maybe I don't believe in myself enough. So, but that if the feelings come, then that comes. So we'll just try and do everything we can to make that emerge, and then see what we can do and what it throws at us. But you know, hopefully the weather's good, and you know, even a baddish day on the Isle of Man ain't too bad, is it? You're still riding around the greatest circuit in the world, and it's magic. Yeah, I look forward to it.
What classes we're going to see you in?
Super bike, super sport with WTF on these Hondas, and then the super sport back with Bournemouth Kawasaki. Kind of had a frustrating year last year on an R6, and I didn't even really pick the phone up. Dale is one of the mechanics here at WTF, who's the son of Pete Exton's at Bournemouth Kawasaki, and I sort of mentioned him. I said, "Do you reckon your dad would get a bike back out?" And yeah, I didn't even directly ask Pete, but then the next thing, the kind of messages start pinging, and then the bike's ordered, and blah blah blah, and then we're going. So it's kind of, and it's
Snowballs on.
yeah. So I'm excited about that, but it's paramount really for me is laps, because with the separate sessions this year, it would frustrate me sitting watching a super sport session with my competitors getting more laps under their belt when I'm sat, because I haven't got a 600. It's important just to maximise laps. And the great thing with Bournemouth and the team there is that I did 11 TTs with them, so I don't have to question anything. It would literally be a case of just sitting on the bike and heading off, with full confidence. So, which we had good success on the 600 with them. So hopefully I can continue that. And I want podiums. That's what I want. I've not been in that winners enclosure since 19, so it's pretty naff riding past it. And when you've been in there and had a taste, that's anything less isn't satisfactory. So that's my goal really, I suppose, is just to try and get up on the box and get some silverware, I suppose.
It'd be nice to see that here as well come the weekend.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Racing tomorrow, racing Saturday and at the TTs.
Yeah, and I've done it. I think I've had maybe nine podiums here before, so it's within my ability. I just
the last one as well.
19 won one, yeah. And man of the meeting in 19. That was I didn't even know I'd got that till they. Anyway, yeah, that was good. So I can go right around here when everything lines up and I'm in a good place. So yeah, we'll see. We'll just keep chipping away. The boys are working on the bikes now, and it's every lap we do is another bit closer to kind of, I wouldn't say perfection, but we're improving every time we ride the bike, or I ride the bike, and they say analyse it. So it's we don't never stop learning, and we'll take all that forward and fingers crossed for a good year.
Fantastic. James, I wish you all the best for the rest of the Northwest 200 and for the TT. We'll see you over there. A massive thanks to the man behind the camera, Si McNally, for letting us organise this and sitting in the truck. Thank you, Si. And to WTF Racing, we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, James Hillier.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate.